So this is a cover I did commissioned for the artist Said Karen Archives, and I'm just gonna go through the layers to see how it was built up. This is the full LP layout. So not all these are in order of the order that I did them in, but let's see what we have. Here's the basic sky. Um, Built up this planet. I've been trying to get better at doing landscape stuff, like these mountains. They still don't look very good, in my opinion. I think I've gotten a bit better since I even did this piece. But I just layered just a few, like 3 or 4 different colors on here to give it depth. It's pretty simple. Then I flatten that and added this overlay color. I do this quite a bit. I'll render something like this and flatten it and maybe go up to the levels adjustment to kind of make some of the highlights and shadows pop out. And then I'll just experiment putting color over top and then change the light setting to overlay. And it just gives it some interesting effects with the color. I guess I made a horizon line. I actually think this all came later. I think I added this whole area maybe last in the piece. And it looks like I kind of lost a lot of, I think I might have flattened a lot of the work I did on this. I don't have that many separate layers. Huh. This was something I abandoned. I think I was going to do some type of maze or something. It just didn't look very good. Um, so here's the face that I started to build up. And I was using some reference for this. I think I was looking at a book, like a sci-fi book or something, and it had a face that was pretty similar to this. So I wasn't just free-handing this. I was using some reference. A lot of the time, I'll just go to Google image search and find faces or mountains or whatever, and use that as reference. So yeah, it takes a while of building up color for it to start looking good at all. I think that was it. Also, I should point out now that I think I was using this grain as I was layering colors on this, and you can see that this grain kind of blends, gives an extra blended layer to the color. Without it, it kind of looks, it doesn't really look that good to me. There's some pieces where I don't use this grain, and when I don't use it, I'm more careful with my strokes, I guess. But if I'm, if I'm painting something underneath it, you can be a little less careful because colors will blend together so well. Yeah, whatever. So I think I merged that and then added an overlay layer. The way to achieve this grain effect, take it off here, is you can go to, how do we get to that? Edit, fill, and go to 50% gray. And anything that you have 50%, like a middle gray at, if you put it on overlay, it will basically, the hue will be invisible. And the only thing that will transfer over onto the piece is if there's any texture. So you could do a noise filter on it. And if you change it to overlay, you just get that grain effect. I think mine was a bit more intense than that. Just have a shadow. just built up this box here. Nothing special. This is one thing I actually kind of bothers me about this piece is I wish that I had kind of blended the bottom of this with the shadow more. I wonder if I can do that. Basically something like that. Yeah. I think that looks better. Then I did this face. It's kind of stupid. Let's see. Oh, here's the reference I had for this. I think it was a picture of Medusa, and I really like those eyeballs. So here I'm just adding the basic highlights on the face. Here's the nose. Let's see. I don't really know why I did this face. It was kind of a struggle figuring out what to do with it. So I flattened it. And I probably did something like this. I added some color. It's kind of cool right there. Yeah, I was just going through a few different light settings. And this was the one I settled on. Oh, here's a figure I didn't end up using. Oh, here's the reference for this. This was again out of some, I think I just found this on Google, some old sci-fi illustration. I was using this for reference. But really, once I got that outline on this, I kind of started to improvise more on the folds of his cloak, because I knew this figure was, I was going to shrink him down, and put him around somewhere around here. So I didn't want to spend an insane amount of time building up all this detail on his cloak to have it kind of disappear. So yeah, when it's enlarged like this, it kind of looks a bit crappy. I also want to point out that without this noise layer, this looks even worse. But when you put that on, it just kind of blends everything. So he looked a bit fat, or a little bit bulky there. So added this shadow. Made it a bit more slender and just changed the hue on it. This is some other stuff I abandoned. And the last thing was this lightning. This was from another image of lightning. Can't really remember how I got this effect. I think I outlined it with the airbrush and then changed it to pin light to give it that kind of glow. Yeah, that's it. I still want to come back to this piece maybe and sharpen up some of these highlights on the edge here. But overall, I think it turned out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this one.